Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire is touting a memorandum of understanding between the government of Saint Lucia and Global Ports Holding to transform Port Castries and the Soufriere waterfront. The proposed $47 million project, which would take the form of a PPP, will upgrade the capacity of Port Castries to berth the world's largest cruise ships, construct a boardwalk, and rebuild the Vendors Arcade, ferry terminal, and Bonanza Bay. The project admittedly is a holdover from the former Alan Chastney administration, which failed to complete the deal.
We know the last government had signed an agreement in 2008. They signed another one around 2018 or so with Royal Caribbean. And at the same time, they were discussing if Global Port Holding. So we've reviewed what was going on, and we decided to say to the investor, look, we wanted more than what was being discussed, that we actually wanted to include in the investment proposal the redevelopment of the entire waterfront in Soufriere, as well as some other add-ons for Castries. After a few months of negotiations, we were able to conclude the agreement where the developer will undertake a redevelopment of the waterfront in Castries, will add a boardwalk from Point Seraphine to the Vendors Arcade. They will redo the Vendors Arcade and expand it to include where the old fire station was.
Even the old customs building will be consigned to history if the plan goes ahead, but Hilaire says input from local stakeholders will be critical.
We've signed the MOU. We have some preliminary concepts. The next step is for us to engage in real in-depth consultation with various stakeholders to ascertain the exact needs so we can sit with the developer and refine and finalize the actual investment. And we did not want to be able to not take into account the views of stakeholders, so we will be doing that. We're really excited about it. I think the redevelopment of the Soufriere waterfront will be a fantastic addition to our tourism product. The redevelopment of Bonanza Bay will also be really exciting. The boardwalk I'm excited about. If you just imagine a boardwalk from Point Seraphine all the way to the Vendors Arcade with vendors along the way and whatnot, I think Castries will look a lot better.
But the man who posed for photo ops when the negotiations and the project were first conceived has reservations about the location selected by the Pierre administration. Former Prime Minister Alan Chastney argues that cruise expansion plans for Castries should be scaled back and Vieux-Fort and not Soufriere would be ideal as a second cruise port.
I fully endorse GPH. I think that they're very capable of doing what they're doing, but I want to make a very clear distinction between the two plans, right? I do not believe that it's the right thing to expand the cruise ship capacity in Castries. I think we're already overly congested. I think putting it in Soufriere is going to create even more congestion. So it means that you're going to have a cruise ship berthed in Soufriere. Just imagine the thousands of people. And then you have people now driving into Soufriere. And it's not going to serve in the best interest of us in the long term. I think the long-term interest is to have a home port and Vieux-Fort, right? And so the proximity, and we had two choices of locations. And so this project would have proceeded if it had not been for the delay in the second choice.
The leader of the opposition told a news conference on Tuesday of his former UWP administration's intention to knock down the parliament buildings for a recreational park and erecting a civic center with commercial offices where La Place Carénage currently stands. Talk of transforming Castries into a cruise port and transferring containerized cargo to the cul-de-sac valley dates back to the 1970s, almost 50 years ago. Joachim de Plessis, HTS News Force.